where the West begins in Fort Worth, Texas, to around the globe. You are listening to Talk in the Night. And now, your host, Paranormal Phil. Hello, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be around the world, around the globe, or even in your own backyard. I almost forgot my own lines. We are into the last day of Spooktober, and what better fitting way to end Spooktober but with a ghost talk, open lines. Now you're probably wondering where I am. Normally you see me at the bottom of the screen, but I'm not there. Why is that? Because I am the glowing eyes and the mouth. Just kidding. I'm right here. You see me up here now? Alright, so let's get into Ghost Talk. I'm going to change the background to the show because this is the background I'm using for Ghost Talk Open Lines. Now, you should be able to see all that, but unfortunately, I got all that background behind me. Let me take that off so you can see it all. Alright, so how this is going to work. I'm going to share the number for you to call in later on in the show. But first, we're going to start off with, as soon as I get loaded up here, we're going to start off with 13 Scary Ghost Stories. A video that I watched earlier. And we're going to talk throughout it. Give you a little commentary and my thoughts on it. Then we're going to play 5 ghost videos so scary you'll regret watching. And then, of course, I'm going to share a screen with you that are a video that I captured while at the stockyards. Oops. Trying to bring this chat thing down a little bit. So it's not blocking the whole screen. And it keeps wanting to do the whole screen here. Okay. So, again, like I said, we're going to get into the 13 scary videos, but I'm going to give it a few moments to let people show up in the chat and everything like that. And I'm going to, while we're waiting, I am going to go over to Talk in the Night and mention that I am live now. And okay. So I want to let people know that I am live now. And like I said, we are into Spooktober. And like I said, what better fitting way to end Spooktober with some scary ghost stories. Now, like I said, I will put up the number where you can call in later on in the show. But let's get into these 13 scary ghost stories. And you decide for yourself.
These are true stories based on submissions from the
And real quick, this is from BuzzFeed Unsolved Network. There's a link in the description down below if you want to watch the whole thing again. Because we're going to play the whole thing. And if you happen to visit their channel, make sure that you let them know Talk in the Night sent you. And while you're at it, if you're here, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get notified when I go live again. So that way you don't have to rely on me posting. You'll know when I'm about to go live or when I'm going live. Alright. Or even posting a video. So let's get into it. Let's get into the 13 scary ghost stories.
feed unsolved network audience. These are their encounters. One night when I was in 7th grade, I had 2 friends sleeping over, and we were in my basement. My brother, who was around 7 at the time, had bought himself a new Furby, and got bored of it after a few weeks. Then it sat untouched in the basement closet. As you may know, Furbies sometimes begin to talk when they are moved, yet they only speak gibberish, not English. This night, it was around 4 a.m., and we had all the lights out, and it was silent. We were laying down to go to bed, and out of nowhere, we hear this Furby's voice say, "Come play with me," and then it laughed. At the time, I didn't know it didn't speak English, so we wrote it off and went to bed.
Okay, that's just creepy in itself. A Furby laughing. That's just creepy. I'm just trying to make sure that I post that I'm live. And if I can get to it here, let me get to the... Okay, there we go. Edit post. Alright, so I wanted to add that. Just posted it. Okay. Of course, I forgot to add the link to where people can catch the show. So, like I said, we're going to get into this 13, and I'm going to just make sure my speaker's all the way up so you all can hear this and everything like that. So, please forgive me, just real quick. Like I said, I forgot to post the link, but I'm posting it now. All right. So, they were talking about Furbies. Like I said, I think I didn't have one, but I knew people that did when I was in my younger years. And they do speak gibberish. But if they laugh and talk complete English, that's spooky in itself.
To my horror, in the morning when I checked on it, not only does it not speak English, it also had no batteries.
That's even creepier, no batteries. That's when you throw the doll out and, like, forget it. I'm not dealing with it no more. Getting some water because it's going to be a long night.
I was a freshman in college in the Philippines. It was late at night, and my friends and I were on our way home after watching a play at one of the campus theaters. As we were nearing the College of Education building, I looked up to the sky and saw a woman jump from the topmost floor. I told my friends, and we ran over to the front lawn of the building to help the woman. But when we got there, she was gone. The guard came rushing over to us because I was so loud about it. My friends didn't see her because I was the only one who felt the urge to look up.
Now, I'm going to tell you a quick story of one of the cases that I was not quite part of. We did the walkthrough, but I don't think we ever did, or at least I never did the case. And that was of a college, and I forget what college. It was out in California. And I'm trying to remember the story. I think it was a guy that jumped from the roof. And his spirit is said to haunt that campus. So I'm wondering, it might have been a woman, but I don't know. I don't think this is the same case, but definitely spooky in itself.
The guard helped calm me down from nearest area, then told me that I must have seen the ghost of a woman who had jumped to her death from that building years ago, because it was the anniversary of her death. In 2015, I went on a trip to DC for the 4th of July with my family. This was our second trip to DC, so we decided to take the last day of our trip, the 4th of July, to go visit Mount Vernon, George Washington Estate in Virginia. It was the middle of the day, scorching hot, and there was absolutely no air conditioning in the house, aside from a few fans, placed sparingly. I'm a huge history buff, so I was very excited about touring the home and knew a lot about George Washington and his...
Okay, now this is gonna get creepy because I've experienced something like this before, but I'm gonna let it play to that point.
Estate previously. So I knew that he passed away in his bedroom in 1799, but that's definitely not what I was thinking about when our tour guide led our group upstairs to see said bedroom. His bedroom had a lot of really delicate artifacts in it, so we weren't allowed to go inside, and there were little plastic barriers preventing us from doing so, but you could stick your head into the room and look around. For some reason, I was the only one in the group who decided to take a look. When I stuck my head into the room, I was immediately struck by how absolutely freezing cold it was in there, and I don't mean that there was a light breeze. It was as if I had stuck the upper half of my body into a walk-in freezer.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it right there because, one, I don't want to play the whole thing straight through because I'll get a copyright strike. Two, I want to mention that there was a home that I helped investigate, did a cleansing for, and this home had no electricity. The people were in the process of selling the house and they wanted to get the dark entity out before they moved, and they also wanted to contact their dead grandpa who had passed away. Well, I'll save the story for another day, but when we were contacting the grandfather to get some answers and stuff like that, and get some answers and give family closure. I also opened up a doorway, if you will, for the grandfather to pass on to the light. Now, when I did this, now, mind you, it was August, 105 degrees outside at 5 p.m. in Southern California. That's hot enough, but you go into a house with no electricity, the windows and doors were closed, and this room about 15 by 20, and there was at least 15 or 20 of us in that room. So you know that it was getting hot in there just from the body heat. Never mind the 105 degrees outside with all the doors and windows closed. So it was hot. So when I opened up this doorway for this grandfather to pass through into the light, not only did I feel the cold chill, but everybody felt the chill in the room. I mean, you could say it was I want to say we did a temperature check with a thermometer thing. It was about 110, somewhere around there, 107, 110 inside that room with everybody closed up. And as soon as I opened that doorway, the grandfather used my energy to pass through that doorway to the light. And it was like an air conditioner had turned on in the room mysteriously, even though there was no power at all. And I want to say people were, I mean, it was like 10 feet across. And so, I mean, it was, I want to say about 8 feet across from me. And they felt like this air conditioning blast of cold air hit them. Again, no air conditioning on because there was no power in the house at all. So that made it even creepier for the people that didn't know exactly what I was doing. Because they're like, damn, it just got cold. And of course, like I said, we took a temperature of the room with everybody in there. It was about 107, 110 degrees with the doors closed and 15, 20 of us in there. I can't remember exactly how many people were in there. But as soon as that cold blast of air came off of me, and it was coming off of me, no air conditioner, no windows were open. Like I said, everything was closed. And they took the temperature again. It had dropped down to 70 degrees. From 107 to 110 down to 70 degrees. And again, mind you, it was 105 degrees outside alone at 5 p.m. in Southern California. And a house with no electricity, with all the windows and doors closed at 70 degrees, that's not possible. But that's what happened. Now, what this person experienced was probably, welcome back, Nicole. What this person experienced is probably that same effect of walking into a portal, because he's going to mention something about kind of stuck there in a different feeling. I'm going to talk about that in a second as soon as we get there.
I was confused by this because there didn't seem to be any air conditioning in the room, so I looked around to try to see if there was any fan or AC unit that I just wasn't noticing, but I didn't see one. I decided to...
Now, there is a chance that there could have been a air conditioning unit in Mount Vernon to protect the artifacts, but like I said, he didn't see one. But this is where it gets creepy.
Take my head out of the room and ask our tour guide why it was so cold in there. But then I realized that I couldn't move. I was paralyzed from the waist up. Every part of my body that was in the room was completely stuck in place. I struggled to pull myself out, but couldn't. I started to panic and tried to open my mouth to call for help. But when I opened my mouth, no sound came out. All of a sudden, from the other side of the room, where there was a little piece of furniture, a mirror, and a water basin, probably where Washington washed his face and shaved in the morning, I felt what I can describe as nothing other than a pair of eyes staring at me, almost like the sensation of someone staring at you while you sleep. I didn't see a figure or anything, but I felt this huge and intimidating presence walk towards me and stare me down.
Now, that's another feeling that I've felt before myself, and that was at the Omen House, where I sensed saw the spirit of course, he didn't see the spirit. I could see the spirit at the Omen House. And it was the first time there. I'd never been there. I didn't know anything other than the murders happened 150 feet down the drive. Okay. And 150 feet down the drive. And I didn't know anything. I saw the spirit of Jack Johnson pacing back and forth, and it would look at me and lean in, like, look at me, walk back, walk towards me again, look at me, lean in, look at me, almost to say as, you can see me. But what this person was feeling was that presence of the spirit walking towards him. And could it have been George Washington himself that this person saw? Quite possible. Let's get back to the video.
It was horrifying, and I physically could not tell you how much time passed in that moment, because it really felt like it could have been an hour, but I guess it was only a few seconds. After a while, I finally broke free from my paralysis and almost fell backwards onto my butt. My mom asked me what was wrong, and I told her that I wanted to leave. She didn't believe me when I told her the story later, but it still scares me to this day. When I was around 8 or 9 years old, my mom told me to go to bed early on a summer night, so I threw a fit and began screaming at my mom, "I hate you."
What kid doesn't say something like that? Especially during the summer. or at least back when I was a kid, when we actually had summers off. Kids nowadays, they go year round, so they get time off for good behavior. No, no, they get certain times off, but they don't have like 3 months of summer vacation. And that's something I experienced. So if you were a kid back then and you couldn't go out during the summer, you were hating life. So let's get back into this video.
My mom always told me never to go to bed angry because the devil can possess you and steal you. After slamming my bedroom door shut, I turned off the lights and laid down. It was near midnight and I was still angry. Suddenly, I heard tapping by my door. I had chills run up my arms. Then I heard a voice call to me. It sounded like my brother's voice, but he was calling me a nickname my mom used for me. I figured it was my brother, so I started yelling at him to go away. The voice taunted me with the nickname until my mom ran into the room and turned on the lights. "What are you yelling at?" I sat up and noticed she was the only person in my room. I told her my brother came into my room and started calling my name. She looked pale. "Your brother is sound asleep in my room."
Yeah, now that would freak out most kids to hear that the other kid is in the other room asleep and he heard a voice. Now, one thing I will mention, kids have the ability to see and communicate with spirits. You can check out a video that I did on my Into the Paranormal YouTube channel. Don't think I put a link in there, but I'll put a link in after the live stream where you can check it out for how to see and communicate with spirits, because it explains more about kids being able to see and communicate with spirits.
It was exactly 12 a.m. on the clock when my mom walked into my room, and it was freezing even though my window was closed and the AC was turned off. There was something in my room that night, and to this day, nobody in my family understands what happened. All I know is that I'll never go to bed angry ever again.
They were trying to teach the kid a lesson. That's one way to do it. Scare it into them.
Last year, I went to the coast of Rhode Island for my cousin's wedding. We were just a few miles from the Lizzie Borden house. We get to the wedding venue, and it's this old, big, creepy-looking mansion. Immediately, my spooky senses were tingling. I made a few offhanded comments about how it seemed like this would be a place that was haunted, but within a few minutes, I was distracted by the festivities, and all thoughts of ghosts escaped my mind. The wedding was out behind the mansion, where we could see the water, so everyone had moved from inside to the back lawn. All afternoon, my cousin and my aunts had me grab things for them. Eventually, one of them asked me to get a hair clip she had left in the dressing room area. The dressing room area was in the upstairs part of the mansion. Only people in the wedding party were allowed access up there. As I ascended the red velvet spiral staircase, the spooky feeling started coming back to me. Suddenly, I felt like every portrait on the walls were watching my every move.
That would be a creepy move, but creepy feeling. But I wonder if this mansion they're talking about is the Lizzie Borden mansion, which is not in the same area as the bed and breakfast. So I wonder, or if it's just a separate mansion.
As I went into the dressing room, I decided I would just grab the hair clip and run. I walked to the large table and found the clip. As I was getting ready to run out of the room, I saw my reflection in the mirror on the other side of the room. My hair had gotten all messed up from running around, so I stopped to fix it. As I was standing facing the mirror with my back to the open door of the room, I saw what looked like the form of a person standing in the door just over my shoulder. Frozen, I stare at the white figure of a person in the mirror for a few seconds. Quickly regaining my composure, I turned around and looked at the door. No one was there.
Now, I've seen and heard some stories about something like that. I've had it happen to myself before. Hey, Bill. Talking about mirrors, Candyman. Well, no, I'm not going to say it. Or no, Play Mary. No, never mind. Joking around here. But anyways, on a serious note, this kid saw something in the mirror, looked behind him, and nothing was there. again, I would love to know where this is, because like I said, they said it wasn't that far from the Lizzie Borden house itself.
I swear that I had just seen an old white gentleman. I couldn't make out the clothes he was wearing, but I definitely knew that no one in the wedding party looked like him, since we are an Asian family. So if it was a random guest, they wouldn't have been allowed to go upstairs where I was. While I was standing, looking around in confusion and mild fear, the door to the bathroom began shaking and banging, like someone was locked in there and they were trying to get out, thinking it was just a bridesmaid that was stuck in the bathroom. Most doors were creaky and jammed frequently. I went and easily opened the door. No one was inside the small bathroom. Scared out of my wits, I made a run for it. In my fancy dress and 6-inch heels, I ran back down the red velvet spiral stairs and didn't look back until I was outside.
Okay, so, again, like I said, I wonder where this place is. But, talking about doorways and them making sounds and nobody's in there, this has also happened at the Omen House. And I speak highly of the Omen House because I've been there so many times. I've seen so many things there that it ain't funny. I could tell you, I could fill a whole show with just stories that I have, just from the Omen House alone. But I'm using examples from the Omen House to explain what these people might have felt.
Later that night, the bride's hairstylist told me he saw the same apparition of a man, just minutes before I did. Several years ago, I was deeply involved in amateur ghost hunting. A friend at the time told me her home was in fact haunted, and I jumped at the chance to tackle the challenge. We first conducted an EVP session.
That would be me. I would have to move into like a haunted house just to investigate it. And I think it was a couple of shows ago on this channel, I did haunted places. And one of the places that I talked about was a mansion, and I mentioned about the Lizzie Borden thing. A mansion that was Lizzie Borden's home, which you think, when you hear Lizzie Borden, you think the bed and breakfast, but that was not her actual home. She lived in a mansion on the same property. Just a stone throws away from the bed and breakfast. And that house has gone up for sale. I forget the amount that it was for sale, but it has gone up for sale. Now, I don't know if anybody's bought it, but like I said, I would love to live in a haunted house just to investigate it every single night.
In the master bedroom where my friend's grandparents died. After asking questions like, do you want us to leave? And what are you going to do if we don't leave? Several people in the group immediately began complaining of headaches and stomach pain. I was met with responses like yes and harm. We began hearing noises from the kitchen where we moved to conduct another session, and the room became drastically hot for a January in New York City.
Okay, so they were pretty much taunting it. Was this kid Zach Baggins as a kid? Because they never taunt the spirit. I mean, it's fine to ask a spirit question, but never taunt it, especially if it's a dark energy or dark entity.
And I raised my hands in prayer and began to close my eyes. As I prayed, a member of the group told me my hands were being pulled apart by nothing. As I opened my eyes, I became disoriented and my vision blurred, and I heard several people in the group saying something was coming up the stairs from the basement. I got up and noticed a horned shadow creeping up the steps. I yelled at it, "Do your worst, I'm not afraid." I woke up on the floor a full 5 minutes later. I managed to get out of the house, just to be told I smelled like ashes and fire. I got home to notice what appeared to be a handprint on my ankle, and it was hot to the touch and extremely painful. I had gone to church and explained what happened, and the priest offered to anoint the mark with holy water, and when it came into contact with my skin, it felt like I was being set on fire. For several weeks after, myself and one member of the group began to have dreams of being threatened and taunted by a man in a black suit.
So the moral of that story is, do not taunt dark entities or demons if that's what you believe in. I call them dark entities because that's what I believe in. I don't believe in demons, angels, devil. But that's a story for another day. Let's finish the rest of the stories here.
My grandfather built a house for him and his first wife. Sadly, she died falling down the basement stairs. Later, he met my grandmother and they had my mother. Years later, my grandfather passed away, leaving my grandmother alone in the house. A friend of hers had stopped by to see if she would sell the house. She gave them a tour, and afterwards, her friend handed her his card. The minute her hand touched the card, a loud crash came from upstairs. For reference, the upstairs is laid out like a square hallway that loops around a pillar, and on the back of that pillar is a bookcase. The shelves in that bookcase had collapsed inward, like someone had slammed down on them. Books were found in every room upstairs, behind beds, in closets, and even in rooms on the other side of the pillar. My grandma never really believed in ghosts, but this event freaked her out.
Yeah, that was just a short ghost story, but I mean, when you're selling a house, you technically don't have to mention it's haunted, but it might be a good thing if you're a real estate agent to make sure that your clients know that it's haunted. Just because you might lose commission if they're not into that sort of thing and want to move out. Now, I can understand from a realtor's point of view that would not that would make it hard to sell. But there are people out there like myself that would love the chance to live in a haunted place.
So this has happened to me more than once in the house where my family used to live. From what I was told, there was a ghost in the house that resembled me, so much to the point where my own mother thought it was me. The first incident was back in 2011-2012. I was in my bedroom, and I heard my name being called, so when I responded from upstairs, I heard my mom say, "Never mind," very nervously. Naturally, I go down the stairs and I asked my mom why she was calling me. She then said, "I just saw you standing in the kitchen." I looked at her and said, "I've been upstairs the whole night." And she...
Now, could that have been a spirit? Or could that have been a doppelganger? Nicole, you live in a haunted house. But, yes, could that have been a spirit or a doppelganger? Because, I mean, he mentioned it looked exactly like him. So, you decide. I'll let you all decide on that one. Was it a ghost or was it a doppelganger? But let's finish out the story.
He replied with, "I saw you go into the kitchen and open the cupboard." The next incident was with a family friend named Jamie. The layout of our house was kind of odd. There was a hallway that connected to the kitchen, but it had two openings, so it created this weird open wall situation. Anyway, there was a mirror hanging on the wall, and you could see the reflection of the TV in the mirror. So one day, I went to an amusement park, and Jamie looked at the mirror, then circled around the hallway situation, and asked the other person in the house if I was still there. When she replied, "No, she left," Jamie said she saw me sitting on the couch from the reflection of the TV. The TV was not on. The last incident was with my cousin. He had spent the night, and we both fell asleep on the couches downstairs in the living room. He had woken up and went upstairs to brush his teeth in the bathroom. It had one of those giant mirrors that covered the entire wall from the counter up. And with the bathroom door open, you could see into my room and my brother's room. He said he was brushing his teeth, and when he looked up at the mirror, he saw me standing from my bedroom watching him brush his teeth and said, "Oh, I didn't know you were awake, Cass." He didn't get a response.
Again, like I said, I'm thinking a doppelganger.
Once again, I was asleep downstairs in the living room. The next thing I knew, my cousin was shaking me, telling me to wake up and that he had just saw me standing in my bedroom. We lived there for about 9 years. My room was always the coldest room in the house, especially the closet in my room. It was freezing in there, and we were told it was a portal. I always heard hangers moving around, and I would feel someone or something sitting at the edge of my bed. In the basement.
Now, there are a lot of people that believe mirrors, closets, stuff like that are portals to the spirit world. And there could be some truth to that. And let's see what we got here. Just to let you know, no time to go back tonight. Just want to let you know, Bud and Nicole. Not a problem.
Especially if you were alone. You could hear footsteps constantly. I never felt too scared or threatened, but the idea of a ghost looking at me creeped me out.
And before we get into this next story, would a ghost creep you out? That's the question. Would you live in a haunted house? Would you live where something like that looked exactly like you was there? You decide. So let's get into the next story.
I live in a house that was built in the early 1900s. When it was built, it was intended to be used by a doctor performing checkups and work in his own home. One room at the front of the house freaks out nearly every visitor who comes by, and my friends growing up always described a strange feeling when walking past the room. Some even run past to avoid it. The house consists of a long hallway where you have to walk past every room before reaching an open space, something that I've been told has been quite claustrophobic and has scared some of my friends who used to visit often. Back in 2015, my then girlfriend explained that she was seeing snakes in one corner of the room and a snarling dog in the other. This was all during the middle of the night.
Okay. The dogs I probably would not deal with if they're snarling, because that means they either see something or they don't like you. Snakes, on the other hand, yeah, I would probably try to capture the snake and put it outside. Just because I've handled snakes before, so it's something that I would deal with. I know how to handle a snake that wants to strike at you. But a snarling dog, I'm not too sure how to handle that if it comes after you.
I had experienced what I thought were hallucinations of a lost child and a strange man that I assumed was one of my mother's friends. When I asked who it was, she said there had been no one matching the description who had entered the house. During the night, when leaving my room for a drink or to go to the toilet, I never felt alone. I felt like something was there, but not acting up. Now, as an adult, I walk into that front room and still feel cold and a sensation that I can only describe as emptiness. To this day, I wonder what kind of patients the original owner had, and if any of them died on the property.
And if it was the 1800s, it probably was a makeshift morgue as well. So it could have been a little bit of both. Okay, Nicole.
I was lying on my bed watching videos on the internet when I thought I heard a knock on the door. I took out my headphones and listened for another knock. I didn't hear anything, so I put my headphones back in and continued watching the video. Shortly after, my video started buffering at exactly 6 minutes and 66 seconds, and I felt some...
Okay, now, I'm not a big person on numbers, especially like that. But there are some people that do believe in the numbers, and I'm just posting something real quick. It's kind of, Bill, it's kind of hard to handle a ghost snake. You can't exactly grab it by the head, but at least you don't have to worry about it biting you and poisoning you, or if it is. So there's that. But again, like I said, I'm not one on numbers. Oh, I know you were. So was I. But like I said, I'm going to tag people in my post here to let people know I'm live, because apparently some people just don't see my post when I post them. So I want to tag some people here. So please bear with me. If you're watching the stream, pop in the chat. Let me know you're watching and everything. Say hello to Bill and Nicole and everything like that. They're in the chat. I don't need to share it with Bill and Nicole because they're already there. but like I said, we're going to get into the open lines probably in the second half of the show, second hour of the show. But this first hour, I want to get through these stories. I want to mention some stories that I have. I want to share that video and before Nicole and Bill leave to do their stream, I want to share the video I captured last night at the stockyards. Now, I know Nicole's already seen it, but I don't think Bill has seen it yet. So, let me just share this around a little bit here, or tag people in it, so that way I can get people to tune in. So, again, like I said, we're going to get into this. Let's play the story while I'm sharing this.
Someone tugged at my foot, which was hanging off my bed. I quickly got up and looked under my bed and around my room to see if my sister was playing a trick on me. I was alone. I ran out of my room and saw a tall, dark figure standing at the end of the hallway. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them again, it was gone. When I was about 9 years old, I had a friend that introduced me to the urban legend of Bloody Mary. We used to play around and dare each other to summon her in the bathroom one at a time.
How many kids, especially in the 70s and 80s, used to play that game? That's okay, Bill. I'm going to play it as soon as I get through these stories. I'll get it done before you guys head out to do your stream. But it's definitely a good video. But how many people have played Bloody Mary and stuff like that looking in the mirror? Well, let's hear what happened to this person.
Night, I was feeling daring, so I went into the bathroom and did it, except I ran out before I could see anything, and I went to sleep. I woke up around 4 a.m. and heard footsteps coming up the stairs. At first, I thought it was probably my parents, except I began realizing that the footsteps never seemed to make it to the top. Then I thought, oh, the tooth fairy. Remember, I was 9. I lost my tooth that night, except...
Okay, who's 9 and believes in the tooth fairy? I mean, by that age, you should not be believing in that stuff. But, that's another story.
Except I looked under my pillow, and it was gone. The steps started getting louder, faster, and closer, and sounded as if someone had already gotten to the top of the staircase. But I went to check. Nobody was there, and both my parents were asleep. I got so scared that I pulled the covers over my head, and the steps suddenly came to a halt. I slowly uncovered my face, let out a sigh of relief, and went to turn my body towards the wall, when I felt a hand crawl down my forearm and bang it against the wall with full force. I had zero control over my arm, which is what freaked me out. When I woke up, there was a dent in the wall.
Okay. A dent in the wall. Yeah, ghost tooth fairy. That's funny. Yeah. But yeah, definitely a lot of creepy stuff. But we got a couple stories left here to finish out these ghost stories. And I'm going to share what I captured last night when I was live streaming at the stockyard. Now, this video that I'm going to play after this was not captured during the live stream. It was actually captured before the live stream. And I did not notice it until I got home.
About 4 years ago, I was home alone with my newly 3-year-old daughter. My husband was working late, so I knew I was in charge of bedtime. I didn't like being alone at home because I always had this off feeling like someone was watching us, and my mom was always superstitious. My daughter and I went through our routine, and when it was time to put on her pajamas, she told me that she had a friend who would stay with her when we put her to bed. So I asked her who it was, and she looked at me and said, "Well, can't you see him, Mommy? He's standing right behind you in my closet. He's very big. How can you miss him?" We moved less than a year later.
Okay. And for some people that might think 13 is an unlucky number, 13 is just another number. And If you break it down in numerology, it becomes the number 4. So it's not, some people believe in that superstition. I'm not big on the 13 superstition. I mean, like I said, it's just another number to me.
We had just moved to the suburbs from the south side of Chicago, so naturally my family and I were slightly uneasy in a totally new environment. My younger brother, however, was a nervous wreck. He refused to go into the basement or even the stairs leading down to them. No big deal, he was around 5 or 6 at the time, so we chalked it up to the typical kids scared of basement rhetoric. But things did get weird pretty quick. Apparently, I started sleepwalking, something I never did before we moved, and I would stand outside my parents' door in the middle of the night. I would do this a few times a week, even standing right next to my parents' bed, and just stare.
Okay, that just seems like almost like a Paranormal Activity movie. Hey, basements. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you all a little story of basement thing that I had when I was a kid. I think I was around 10. My aunt who lived in Birmingham, Alabama, she had this 3-story house, very old, very creepy, and of course a basement. Well, I mean, that it didn't really scare me to go down there, but it did creep me out a little bit. And I would love to go back down there to this day to check it out now. But back then, I was too busy playing. And there supposedly is a room below the Omen House, Nicole. I think there is another door down below, but nobody ever goes into it. I think David's the only one that does, and I don't know if he has ever gone in it. But, yeah. So let's continue about the basement.
Mom would always tell me to go back to bed, and according to her, I even tried to leave the house. I was around 10 or 11. One night, we were eating dinner, and my little brother just loses it, sobbing hysterically and pointing at the door that, you guessed it, opens up to the staircase that leads to the basement. My parents are super concerned, asking him what's wrong, but all he can manage to string together is, it's staring at me. It's staring at me. A little time passes, and nothing really happens. Things seem to have really calmed down. It was the middle of winter, which is when my birthday is. I was hanging out in my room, and I heard someone singing happy birthday. Weird, because it wasn't my birthday just yet. So I went into the kitchen, expecting to see my parents with a cake. No one was there. I thought that maybe I was just hearing things. I went back into my room, and I heard it again. I started looking around, and I finally found the source of the noise. It was coming from the vents. The vents that all lead to the basement. The last straw for my parents was probably when we couldn't find my younger brother. We looked all over the house. No sign of him. We were all freaking out.
I don't think they checked the basement. But how come they don't go there? Because nobody walks outside the house on the side of the house, because it is on a hill and there is a long stairway on the side of the house. So nobody really goes on that side of the house. Everybody's so busy with inside. So there's no access to that doorway from the inside, or that I know of.
Eventually, we would faintly hear someone crying through the vents. He was in the basement. My mom wouldn't let me go into the basement with her, so this is what she told me happened. She said that when she ran down there, she saw a dark shadow, and that it was shaped like a man. Now, my mom is your regular religious immigrant parent. She didn't allow us to bring anything regarding death or the supernatural into the house, because according to her, it would be inviting it into our home. So of course, this freaked her out. She said that she repeatedly told whatever it was to get out and leave her family alone. Apparently,
I don't think that's gonna work. So, yeah. Just telling it to leave it is not
Apparently,
gonna
it disappeared after a few moments, and she found my brother. After that, she hung up a few crosses all over the house and a Virgin de Guadalupe statue. Nothing weird happened since, but we still ended up moving.
Now, before I played the moral of the story, I mean, I've heard of people moving out right after something like that happens. But, I mean, if nothing else happened after you put up the crosses, if that's something that you believe in, then why wouldn't you stay there? But to each their own.
Moral of the story: don't move to the suburbs.
Okay, I did not know that was actually going to be the moral of the story. I didn't get past, I didn't make it that far. So I didn't know about that. Don't move to the suburbs. That was funny. All right, so. All right, let's get into this video that I captured at the stockyards. And I'm going to explain the image here real quick. And, I'm stupid. I went the whole time without putting it on the thing. And now I'm going to have to go back and play all that. I apologize for anybody watching this stream later on. I did not realize that I did not have window capture on to where everybody could see what was going on. That was my fault. All right. So what you're seeing here, hey, it made the stories creepier. And if you do watch this later on, there is a link to the 13 scary ghost stories down below where you can actually watch it instead of hearing it. But it added to that creepy factor of hearing it and not seeing it. Trust me, it wasn't that scary of a video. The stories were scarier than the video. So maybe it was a good thing that I left it all. Alright, so now what you're looking at in this video is this is looking down to the hog and sheep pens, or the pig and sheep subway as they call it, that was around 1911. And if you want to learn about that thing and don't want to make the trip to Fort Worth, check out my live stream over on the Into the Paranormal YouTube Facebook page. I'm going to be posting the video, making some edits and posting the video to that channel tomorrow from yesterday. But like I said, this ramp leads down into the tunnel, and if you look where my arrow is, it almost looks like somebody is standing there. Now, of course, I think that might actually be something at the end that makes it look like somebody standing there. But what you're about to hear, and this is an EVP, no ghost, no apparition caught on camera. But this was an EVP, and you can tell that there's a pitch change, and it's not me. The first part of it is not me saying that. The second part is me. You'll hear the difference between the two voices. Now, to give you an idea of what that first voice sounds like, and for the life of me, I can't think of the actor's name. But the person who played on the Green Mile, the black guy, again, I can't think of his name, but that's what the voice sounds like. So here, let's play that video.
Looking down there, seeing if I can see anything.
All right.
Looking.
It's did you hear it? Did you hear the difference in it? I'm gonna play it again.
Looking down there, seeing if I can see anything.
Again.
Looking down there, seeing if I can see anything.
Okay, of course, I can't get my voice that low. And I can't get my voice down that low. I probably could if I wanted to, but how you heard me saying, seeing if anything's down there, that's how I was talking the whole night. I was not talking that low. So that was definitely a spirit there. And that was an interesting catch the whole night. And of course, for anybody in the paranormal field, that is a Class A EVP. For those that don't know what Class A EVP is, EVP stands for Electronic Voice Phenomenon. Yeah, deep Southern accent, Bill. Nicole, exactly. And I'm from Southern California. I got a little bit of a Southern accent, but most of my accent is from California. So that was definitely not me. But EVP stands for Electronic Voice Phenomenon, and Class A just means that it was clear enough to where you could hear it really well. So let's play it one more time and let you hear it one more time.
Looking down there, seeing if I can see anything. Looking down there, seeing if I can see anything.
Now, of course, I was the only one in that area. Yeah, it could have been one of the old cowboys, because one of the stories that I heard was a shootout happened down in those tunnels. So or in that general area. Maybe not in the tunnels, but in that general area. A shootout happened back in the day, the old West days, late 1800s, early 1900s. Actually, it would probably be early 1900s. But anyways, I was the only one over there. There were people passing by from time to time, but that was almost like standing right next to me or behind me. And I would have heard the steps of somebody walking behind me or up to me, because I could hear people talking in the Stockyard Station, which is a couple buildings away. So that was right next to me. And I did not hear it with my own ears. I had my ability to see and communicate with spirits turned off for the night. So, okay, not a problem, but definitely something. If you ever get a chance to visit the stockyards, definitely go on the Cowtown Winery Ghost Tour. Ghost Tour. You might actually hear some of those things, and or even see spirits of your own. So let's get into some videos. 5 ghost videos so scary you'll regret watching. And if you're watching the stream, pop in the chat let me know you're viewing the chat and everything. Bill and Nicole were here, but they have to head out to do their stream. But we're going to get through these 5 videos as quickly as possible. And then I'm going to open up the lines if anybody wants to call in. And if nobody calls in, I will share some of the ghost stories that I have already experienced throughout my time in the paranormal field. But we're going to save that just in case. Alright, so let's get into this video here. Oh, and before we get any further into it, let me make sure that it's showing here so you can see it. Because I made that mistake the first part. And second, let's mention this is from Nuke's Top 5. Go over to the channel, make sure you subscribe there and like their videos. They put out a lot of great content. I subscribed, as you can see right here. I subscribed, I hit that notification bell, and I haven't seen this video yet. So you're going to watch me give it a like right on the air. And if you happen to go over to Nuke's Top 5, make sure that you let them know that Talking in the Night sent you. And leave a link to my channel because I don't got enough subscribers yet to... Or at least I think that's the case. I don't have enough subscribers yet to actually enter a personal name. I think you have to have 100 subscribers. So I'm trying to get there. So if you want to help out, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get notified when I do a live stream or post a video or anything like that. And do the same thing for Nuke's Top 5. So, let's get into this video here. And of course, I'm going to be stopping throughout the video so I don't get a copyright strike.
Top 5 ghosts caught on camera. Strange brew. Popular YouTube ghost hunting team Twin Paranormal are invited to investigate the allegedly haunted Cutthroat Brewing Company in Markleeville, California. Originally built in 1862, the building has been through many changes over the last 158 years. The structure has served as a hotel, a bar, a restaurant, and for a time, even as a temporary doctor's office and morgue.
Now, of course, that's going to be one of the reasons why it is haunted.
Through the years, owners, employees, and visitors to the Cutthroat Brewing Company have frequently witnessed terrifying paranormal activity. They say that bottles and chairs in the bar sometimes just move on their own. Many have seen and heard the dark apparition of a woman wearing heels pacing back and forth in front of the windows on the second floor.
Now, I'm wondering, with the woman pacing back and forth, if it could have been also used as a bordello at one time. But we're going to leave that there. Now, another place, when I mentioned Cowtown Winery in the Stockyards, they used to be in another building where they had bottles moving on their own, getting slinged out of the thing and tossed onto the ground. I guess the spirits didn't like wine or something like that, but so, like I said, alright, just checking my messages, but like I said, it could be a bordello at one time with the woman and the hills and everything like that. Let's play more.
And some have spotted the menacing figure of a man standing behind the restaurant's bar. Once, a grandmother brought her very young granddaughter along with her to visit a friend who worked at the Cutthroat. When they reached the upper floor of the building, the top...
And I hate ads because they're just annoying. So we'll get through this.
When life gives you what it gave me, my parents...
Mute it. I'm not advertising yet. Alright, let's continue with the video. Oops.
Just wasn't there. Laughing and...
Let me go back a little bit because, like I said...
sometimes just move on their own. Many have seen and heard the dark apparition of a woman wearing heels pacing back and forth in front of the windows on the second floor. And some have spotted the menacing figure of a man standing behind the restaurant's bar. Once, a grandmother brought her very young granddaughter along with her to visit a friend who worked at the Cutthroat. When they reached the upper floor of the building, the toddler seemed to start playing with a child who just wasn't there.
Now, again, like I said, could it be an old bordello? Quite possible that it was, and it just was never mentioned. But
Texas, make a plan to vote on election day November 3rd. Right
okay, I don't know what I'm getting ads. Why am I getting ads playing on my phone? I don't know. Okay, I figured out the problem. For some reason, I was getting an ad on the thing where I'm gonna take calls later. But talking about bordellos and like Miss Molly's and stuff like that, a lot of the girls had kids. Some of the girls of the night were kids back in those days. Not young kids, but they were kids.
Laughing and talking to this invisible child. The little girl kept calling out the name Sophie over and over while playing. The grandmother said that she didn't know anyone named Sophie, and she didn't know where the child could have even heard that name. Twin Paranormal team Ryan, River, Wyatt, and Nick are staying at the Cutthroat Brewing Company overnight to try to capture some of the location's intense paranormal activity. They decide...
I have seen part of this video. I didn't watch the whole thing because I want to have a natural reaction with you to this video. But if you notice the ball right here at the top of the stairs, it's almost like the Beetlejuice figurines at the Omen House. They look like they're going to topple over, but if you do something like stomp your feet or tap on the ground, or in the case of the Omen House, you tap on the top of the aquarium, those things, although they do look like they're going to fall over, they don't fall over. It's something pushing them. And you're gonna, like I said, keep your eye on that ball.
To place a ball at the top of the staircase to potentially trigger the spirit named, quote, Sophie, to play with it or move it.
As soon as we got here, we wanted to do a quick little test.
Now, it's not going to be right away that you notice that ball, but you'll see it here in a moment.
I had mentioned to Wyatt that I wanted to put a ball at the top of the stairs just to see what would happen. And literally, we have the clip. Did any...
Did you hear that? Why is let's scroll back here for a second.
Just to see what would happen. And literally, we have the clip.
Why is the ball on top? Maybe the spirit is downstairs, or the spirit can get to the top floor or something. But now they're using an obelisk, which or Frank's box or spirit box, however you want to call it. And I don't put much faith in it, but when it leaves conjecture, when it talks about something that is actually there, then I have to stop and wonder.
Did anybody hear that step right there?
Okay, now you heard the step, but here's the stairways. There's night vision static camera looking up at the stairs. Now watch this stairs. Don't pay attention to this part of the screen, but watch this part of the screen.
I had heard it say left, and then I heard like a footstep right here. Literally right here. The ball!
Did you see it? Again, the ball came rolling down the stairs. Now they're about to show you that when they placed it there, there was no way that that was rolling down. But you'll see that in a moment. Also, like I said, if you're viewing this video, pop in the chat. Let me know you're watching and everything like that. Like I said, it's definitely a good show to watch on the stream. Alright, so again, let's bring that back and watch that ball come down again.
There, I had heard it say left, and then I heard like a footstep right here.
Right here. Watch
Literally
the ball.
right here. The ball!
And it says save him.
The ball! Thank you! It's going. Thank
Yeah, and off. So it was replying to, it was putting conjecture out there to say that, yes, I pushed the ball off of the stairs. Now, again, you're going to see how they set this up. Now, I've done this many times, especially with the Omen House and a Butcher Block. If you check out that video over on the David Omen YouTube channel, youtube.com/David Omen, the Butcher Block video. And you'll know which one it is. It's in the earthen wall room. But that thing was heavy. And I went down there to test it after the person who mentioned it to me, because I was watching cameras, but I didn't see it happen live on camera until he told me about it, and I reviewed it, rewound the tape to review it, and saw how it moved. So I went down there and I tested it to see how much pressure it would take to push that butcher block just like this. But the butcher block did not fall like this. It lifted up and twisted and fell off. And there was no way that that could have happened. But like I said, they're going to show you exactly how they tested this.
Thank you. It's okay. It's okay. Are you up there?
And if you're thinking that the ball placed on the step's edge was just bound to fall anyway, well, it should be noted that Ryan did test to make sure that the ball wouldn't just fall over on its own.
Of course, you saw the other camera angle where the ball came rolling down and nobody pushed it. But like I said, you're going to see how they put that ball up there to a point where it would not roll on its own.
You filmed us stomping next to it.
Yes, I did.
See? Now, see, he's jumping up and down. The ball is on the edge. There and up here. Of course, you can't see it there, but this is both picture and picture, so it's happening at the same time. And that ball is not moving. Those stairs look a little rickety. So any movement could probably set it off. But they don't look, but they sound. But see,
So
nothing.
they try the ball test again.
We hear you upstairs.
Watch.
Use your energy.
It's gonna be
Kick
here.
that ball.
It's gonna
Or
be
you can...
right
Ah! Sorry.
But see, he's standing there and it rolls down on its own and he got scared. Now, I probably wouldn't, but
everybody's gonna make fun of me for that one. I'm sorry, it just really scared me because it caught me off guard. It really did.
And I admit that I can get scared a little bit, but I don't get scared that often. So something like that startling me, yes, I'm going to get startled. Not super scared where I'm screaming like him, but I'm going to be like, oh! Or, oh! Just something simple like that, but not scared like him.
This time the ball bounces back down the steps as if on command. The team gathers their courage and asks the spirits that haunt the Cutthroat Brewing Company some questions using a modified spirit box. They get some very strange answers, but what they don't know is that one of their stationary cameras captures
Okay, now here's a spirit of the man that they were talking about and everything like that.
something truly chilling.
Who's here with us tonight?
Did you see it? Look right there. Now, I don't think this is an artifact, but watch.
As we were asking our questions towards the front of the building, one of our night vision cameras pointing towards the back door had picked up what looks like a man coming in through the back gate into the building. If you look close, this man-like figure starts to form his body and then his head right after. Then he turns his head facing our direction before exiting out the back door.
And I hate ads. So I'm going to mute it while the ad's going on, and I'll bring it back up as soon as I can skip this ad.
So, what do you think? Did the ghost of a child named Sophie roll the ball down the stairs? Could the strange figure be the spirit of the man people claim to have seen behind the bar? And if not, just who or what is this?
And like Nuke's top 5 channel mentions, you decide. I'm going to let you decide. I'm thinking it could be the spirit of the guy that was mentioned. And as far as the ball goes, I don't know if it was the little girl they're talking about, or even maybe the man possibly kicking the ball down the stairs. But again, you decide.
You can watch the all-new Part 2 of the Cutthroat Brewing Company investigation over on the Twin Paranormal YouTube channel, The John Lowe Murder House. In 2014, 82-year-old dog breeder John Lowe's mind just seemed to snap one night. In a fit of rage, he tragically ended the lives of his 66-year-old girlfriend Christine Lee and her daughter Lucy at his family home in Surrey, England. Lucy was somehow able to call the authorities moments before she lost her life, and John Lowe was arrested for his crimes shortly thereafter. The sudden...
Now, this is over in England, so I would, if I was over there, I would love to investigate this house. And if I ever get over to England, I know somebody that is in the paranormal field. I got contact over there that maybe he knows of this house, or maybe him and his team has investigated this home, but it would be interesting to see.
Strange and brutal act shocked the entire country. Since the tragedy, the house has been left completely abandoned. Paranormal investigator Simon from the YouTube channel Ghost Raiders went to what locals now call the, quote, John Lowe Murder House. His intent was to try to make contact with the spirits of the victims who are still believed to haunt the scene of the crime. Together with YouTube ghost hunters Proving Demons, they try to communicate with Christine and her daughter Lucy using a spirit box. Their questions get some very strange and eerily...
It almost looks like one of those Radio Shack cat spirit boxes and everything like that. But, and I've used those, but again, like I said, something like that, I don't put much faith in, because especially if it's a Radio Shack hack, all it's doing is scanning through the channels really quick without stopping. And so you might get some things in there, but unless it has conjecture to what you're talking about or a question that you asked, I don't put much faith in them.
Accurate responses.
Is Lucy here? If Lucy is also here, can you say Lucy?
Lucy,
Whoa, that was
so
instant and clear.
Again, like I said, it's scanning through the radio channels, and there's plenty of things that probably could say Lucy. It just happened to capture on that. But again, let me know what you think in the comments down below, or in the chat if you're watching the live stream. Like I said, I am monitoring the chat while I'm got play on this. I had Bill and Nicole in there. They're doing their own thing tonight, so right now, so they're not in the chat. So, like I said, pop in the chat, let me know.
Lucy is with us.
Are you here in this room with us, yes or no?
The shocking spirit box reply seemed to acknowledge that Lucy and her mother might be trying to make contact with the paranormal investigators. But things get even stranger when Olivia from Proving Demons claims that she feels something touching her back.
Hold on now.
Could it be a car on the road?
It sounded
just
behind
grabbed
me.
my back.
No, I didn't grab it.
Now, notice she's standing up against the wall. His hand, this hand's over here on this side of him. This hand's holding the camera. He didn't switch things, so if something grabbed her back, that was grabbed either through the wall or from this side. And she probably, since she mentioned him, she probably felt it on this side, so it probably reached around the wall to touch her back.
Back one. Video.
No, seriously, did you just grab my back?
I swear.
No,
I swear I
Like,
didn't touch you.
That was hard.
Andrew was
I
holding,
didn't touch you.
Andrew was holding with the hand that he would grab you back. The camera.
And my other hand's in my
His other hand was
pocket.
in his pocket. There was nothing that he
Well,
could have grabbed
unless-
his back with.
Unless my jacket was halfway up my back, something just pulled it.
Did you see?
Okay, now there was something I didn't see. Now that's a pipe coming from the wall, so, and that right there is just the way the lighting and the bricks. It's and I always want to call it pareidolia. I can't remember the name of it completely, but they're about to show something that some of us might have missed without it being pointed out. And now, of course, I wasn't paying that close attention, but like I said, look at where the camera is. It's in his right hand, right hand. His left hand is in his pocket.
See it? Right before Olivia says something grabbed.
Okay. Yeah, see that little artifact going right up here? So that's probably what she felt. Something going through her.
Her back. A small light enveloped by a strange translucent mist seems to rise up and away from her. This bizarre light or mist was not even noticed by any of the explorers.
Hold on now.
Could it be a car on the road?
It sounded
Just
behind
grabbed
me.
my back.
No, I didn't grab it. Back one.
After Simon uploaded the video to the Ghost Raiders channel, keen-eyed YouTube viewers pointed out the very strange phenomenon. Now, I have to say that this clip is one of the more compelling pieces of paranormal footage that I've seen, because being able to fake this mist, time it perfectly, and then this very real reaction from Olivia when she says her back is touched, well, it all seems very hard to fake.
Now, could it be an artifact from a light? Yes, it could quite possibly be that. But her reaction at the same time, you decide.
But of course, I could be wrong. Let me know what you think. Before we move on to the next video, if you see anything that you think should be included in the top 5, contact us at nukestop5@gmail.com. The Hills Have Eyes.
Okay, and they're not talking about the movie The Hills Have Eyes. Even though I haven't seen that movie yet. I'm going to have to watch it one of these times. Because I love horror films and stuff like that. But, like I said, check out Nuke Top 5 channel. And if you do, make sure that you let them know that you saw their video. If you're not subscribed to them, make sure that you let them know that Talking the Night sent you. Share a link to this video on in their comments. And make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Because like I said, they put out some great content. And if you're watching this live or even recorded, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get notified every time that I go live or post a video or post something about going live. Because hitting that notification bell and that subscribe will help me out tremendously. So let's get back to the video.
Amr from the popular YouTube channel Amr/3AMR travels to the site of several abandoned buildings in the middle of nowhere in Saudi Arabia. Amr believes that...
Looks like we got another ad in 2 seconds after I hit play, so I apologize for the ads, but YouTube has gotten bad about putting a lot of ads in people's videos.
The site he's exploring has been...
Yeah. Pause it. Now, let's see. We'll skip it here and get back to...
used to perform occult rituals and is a place used by witches. As soon as...
Now, witches in Saudi Arabia. I wouldn't think that they would be there. But to each culture, there is always something strange like that going on.
He starts exploring, he begins to feel uncomfortable. And with good reason. It seems like he's not alone.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. What's that?
See the eyes?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillah. Bismillah.
Nowhere for anybody to go.
What's that?
You have probably heard
شفتوا انتم؟ Bismillah.
But I don't know if this is going to play it back because I haven't gotten this far into the video, so I don't know. I've never seen this video because this was actually done on the 28th. So I haven't.
Someone or something with glowing eyes seems to be staring at Amr from inside one of the...
See it? Like I said, it looks like somebody's there. Now, could it be in that first room that he passed up and somebody just making be a prank? Quite possible, but let me know what you think down below in the comments below or in the chat live, because we are live, and I welcome anybody to pop in the chat and communicate with me, because I will acknowledge everybody that comes into the chat.
Buildings. When he runs over, no one there. He searches through the entire building but finds absolutely nothing. The figure with glowing eyes seems to have mysteriously disappeared without a sound. Amr continues on to one of the other creepy buildings, but he still feels like he's being watched.
حطينا في بيت موتون. وش ذا؟ تشوفون؟ في شيء يتحرك هناك. في شيء يتحرك. بسم الله.
شلون بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وشو هذا؟ كل لمبة بس.
Now, I don't know if he's mentioning about right there in that window. There's something there, but I think that's like the grass, stuff like this.
بسم الله بسم الله ما ادري وشو بقرب له. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله بسم الله بسم الله الرحمن.
Yeah, see, there's the eyes again in the window in a different building looking out.
بسم الله. بسم الله.
Now, I don't know why he didn't look in the window
بسم
itself.
الله الرحمن الرحيم.
That was a bat there.
بسم الله. كان في شيء موقف. أنا تهيأ لي. بسم الله. اللي كان هناك بنفس المكان اللي قبل شوي جاء هنا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أحس في أحد هنا. هذه الفتحة قبل شوي جيت معها. بسم الله. بسم الله. ايش يتحرك؟ بسم الله. في صوت أحد. صوت أحد يمشي. في صوت أحد يمشي. في صوت أحد يمشي.
Now, if it was elaborate hoax,
والله يسمع صوت أحد.
now if it was elaborate hoax, like I said, I don't see why he didn't look in the window and see if somebody was there. He could have easily done that and seen. But again, you decide.
يمشي. بسم الله. ما ادري يتهيأ لي واشوف شيء يعكس النور. شيء غريب مرة. خلنا نسمع شوي.
Again, a figure with glowing eyes seems to be staring at him, this time from one of the windows of a building further away.
Another
He can't
ad,
believe-
I apologize. Like I said, YouTube has put in a lot of ads in people's videos, and it makes people not want to watch these videos. So let's get to the ad and let's get back to the video.
Can't believe his eyes, and again he charges toward the building, and again he finds nothing.
Now, if you saw something like that, would you charge towards it or would you run away? I'm going to leave that question for you. Leave your thoughts on that question alone in the comments down below. Would you run towards something like that or would you run away? I would love to know. So let's continue the video.
Things now begin to take a darkly sinister turn, as it seems the strange shadow figures are all around him.
بسم الله. بسم الله. بسم الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله. بسم الله. بسم الله. في صوت هنا. بسم الله. وين اختفى؟ بسم الله. في صوت هناك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Amr starts to hear terrifying sounds from all directions. He decides to just get out of there. So what do you think these bizarre dark figures could be? Is it real? Or is it all just an elaborate hoax?
Again, you decide, as Nuke's Top 5 always says, you decide. And I would love to know your thoughts on it as well. So let me know in the comments down below.
You decide. Just around the corner, the YouTube channel Lego Papa TV travels to the abandoned Letchworth Village Mental Asylum in New York. The village consists of 130 buildings and served as an asylum for the physically and mentally disabled for over 100 years. The institution was permanently closed down in 1996 after thousands of reports of patient abuse.
Now, of course, a lot of asylums have old asylums like that have experienced abuse and everything like that, and just something that I mean, you can find it just about anywhere, something like that. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. And again, like I said, if you're watching the live stream while I'm live right now, pop in the chat. I do have it open. I do focus on it. Excuse me. I'm in there now. So I'm going to put in there, I'm here now. So join the chat. Oop, if I can type. So that way you know I'm in there and focus, paying attention to the chat as well as talking about this. So let's get into this next video.
The patients, most of them children, were found unclothed, unbathed, malnourished, and neglected. Hundreds of patients lost their lives at the Letchworth Asylum and were buried in nameless graves near the institution.
Now, there are other institutions like that where that's happened too. Even like for the Indian school out in my hometown of Riverside, California, where some of the students were buried reportedly on the property, but they said they moved a lot of the graves to the Indian cemetery, but I think some of the students that died in the early 1900s on that property still are buried on that property. I can't say for certain. I tried to get permission from the Indian Council, the Tribal Council, to investigate the cemetery alone. And that's a lot of work to try and get through, to get them to allow me to do that.
Levy from Lego Papa TV is investigating the now abandoned Letchworth Asylum with his wife Kathy. When they get to the area that used to be the hospital morgue, Kathy sees something very strange in one of the doors.
Wait.
Oh, there's something cool over there, isn't there?
You saw something down there?
Yes, I saw something step in that room. But it was fast.
Wait, Chris. Hello?
Don't look.
They're
Look.
standing up.
They're serious. When you pointed this way, I saw this.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people, when they feel a presence, their hair will stand up on end. Now, we're already almost 2 hours in, so I might extend the show a little bit, so give you a chance to call in for Spooktober, because what would open lines be if I didn't allow calls to come in? But I want to get through this video real quick.
Like somebody was like this and one like this.
Now, unfortunately, they didn't capture what she saw on camera. So, Levy decides to set up a static night vision camera to record the hallway where his wife saw the strange figure. Hours after he sets up the camera, he catches something downright chilling.
See it right there.
What looks to be the malformed apparition of a person seems to peek around the corner and then simply disappear back into the darkness. Could this be the spirit of one of the patients that passed away at the Letchworth Asylum?
It could quite be. Now, that was no orb or artifact like dust or bugs or anything like that. So you explain. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and also let Nuke's Top 5 know what you think of their videos.
Is it all just an elaborate hoax?
And
You decide.
Stupid ad. Like I said, this is what, 4 or 5 ads in this 18-minute video.
Rise. TikTok user Joe Vrola is at home with his girlfriend when he hears something strange coming from somewhere in their apartment. Since they have experienced unexplained activity in their home before, he takes out his camera and starts recording as he goes to check out the sound. It did not go well.
What are you doing?
I think I heard something.
Now, what do y'all think is going to happen? Now, of course, I don't see anybody popping in the chat. Like I said, I'm watching the chat. I'm live here now. Pop in the chat. Let me know you're watching. Also, let me know if you're live watching with me. Let me know what you think is going to happen. I'm going to give it a second. If I don't see anything pop up in the chat, we'll continue on. And then you viewing afterwards, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Okay, so let's continue with the video.
What the? Jeez.
Did you see that? Now, he got scared by her standing behind him. But let's roll it back a little bit here and watch. And I'm going to pause it on the spot. Right there. Watch right there.
What the? Jesus Christ.
Did you see it? A floating figure seems to rise up out of the chair, disappearing into nothing. But
now, when it's lightened, it looks like a person.
Joe actually seems to be a bit more freaked out by the sudden appearance of his girlfriend.
What the? Jesus Christ.
Now what?
Talk about a jump scare. That's the kind of stuff I would be involved in, doing jump scares like that. But let me know what you think about that. Was that a spirit? Was it just an artifact? Was it fate? Let me know what you think.
What do you think this strange floating figure is? Is it a ghost? Or is it just some very good special effects work? You decide. In the shadows.
And they's got an extra for you.
Reddit user A. Perez submitted this next video to the Nuke's Top 5 subreddit. He claims the video was originally shared to Facebook by his niece, Jamie, who had recorded her children playfully jumping on her new bed. But when the video was posted, friends and family were very quick to point out that there was something very strange going on in the video that Jamie hadn't noticed at the time of the recording. When she
Again, another ad coming up. I hate how YouTube is taking their platform, and I mean, I can understand 1 or 2 ads, but 5 or 6 ads in an 18-minute video? Really? I mean, they've done it to my videos. I know they're going to do it to this video. There's going to be a shitload of ads, and I apologize for that. I might actually move my stream over to DLive and just post videos on this YouTube channel, but do the lives over on DLive. If I do that, I will let you know in the Facebook. And real quick, while I mentioned it, since I mentioned Facebook, down in the description, there is links to where you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, of course here on YouTube, and also Discord. So check that out. you can find out when I'm going live and everything else. But again, if I do move over to DLive and everything like that, and I might do a test video over on DLive before I do anything like that, but I will let you know that I am going to move over to DLive if I decide to do that, because like I said, YouTube is putting way too many ads in a shorter video, like 18 minutes. I can understand this many ads in a 2-hour stream like myself, like I'm doing now, which I'm going to do a little more than 2 hours, but because it is Halloween, Samhain, I want to add extra for you, the viewers of Talking Tonight. But like I said, they put way too many ads in the videos, and I don't care for that. So let's play until it gets the ad.
She reviewed the footage. She was shocked.
And I'll mute it so you don't hear the ad until we get to the point where I can skip the ad. Alright, now here's the video of the kids jumping on the bed. Let me know if you see anything.
Your new bed said Mama's new bed. Mama's new bed. Mama's new bed. Mama's new bed.
Now, if you notice the little heart and the little white dots, that is a filter, so that's not anything ghostly.
Mama's new bed.
Whoa.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Did you see it?
Did you see it? Right there. And I just happened to pause at the right time. Something peeking around the corner.
Right before she ends the video, while still distracted by her children, a shadow can be seen lurking in the bathroom, seemingly hiding behind the door. What makes this footage even more bizarre is that even though there's enough light to slightly illuminate the bathroom, the figure does not seem to have any facial features that catch the light. Even when the footage is brightened and enhanced, there are still no facial features or details visible in the bizarre shadow figure. So is this creepy footage real or fake? Let me know what you think.
And also let me know what you think. And let's finish out the
Thanks for watching. Please follow me on Twitter for video and channel updates. I'll see you next week.
Alright, and like I said, make sure that you go over and visit Newt Top 5. Let them know that Talking Tonight sent you. Share this link. If you go over there and comment on his channel on this video, make sure that you leave a link to this video over on his channel. And make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell over there for his channel. And as well, make sure that you hit that like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get notified when I go live or post new videos. And also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Discord, and right here on YouTube, of course. So, I'm going to open up the phone lines, and I'm going to talk while I wait and make sure that number is showing. The number is down below right here. You can see it scrolling across the screen. That is the number to call in. Call in and share your ghost stories or experiences that you've had, if you've had any. And if I don't get any calls within, say, 5 minutes, I'll finish out the show with some of my experiences. And I'm going to do that until we do get a call. I do have the phone lines open, ready to go. So give me a call. Let me know where you are and your name, just first name and where you're at. And then let me know your ghost story or experiences that you have. Now, for those viewing this after the live, do not call the number. please do not call the number. I am only live every Saturday night from 8 p.m. Central to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. After that, I'm not live. I will, you'll know when I end the video, and you know when not to call. But for anybody watching this any day after this Saturday, October 31st, Halloween, Samhain, and further on, do not call that call-in number. That's only for the show. And I gotta add that number to my website. Oh, also you can check out my website, Talking the Night. I forgot to update it and let people know that I was live there for the Talking the Night website. I forgot to do it. I got so distracted and busy today. I apologize, but I will update it tomorrow morning. So, like I said, the phone lines are open. Give me a call. Let me know your ghost story or experience. And until we get a call, or if we even get a call, I'm going to mention some experiences that I've had. Now, I've mentioned some throughout the show, talking about other people experiencing from those 13 scary ghost stories, which was left on this screen that you're seeing behind me, which is not actually a screen because that would be a very large wall. But like I said, that is a green screen behind me, so that's why you're seeing that background the whole way through. Alright, so let's talk about some experiences that I've had. Now, like I said, you heard me talk about a couple of them. I was at the stockyards last night. You saw the video already if you're watching live, or if you're watching the recorded version. You've already seen the video that I posted from the stockyard that I captured before I went live last night on my Into the Paranormal Facebook page. And I've had some creepy encounters. That was nothing. Now, that was the best EVP, clearest EVP that I've ever captured. But one of the most, speaking of EVPs, one of the most interesting EVPs that I've ever captured, and I think I lost the file for it altogether, but out in California at the Hermosa Cemetery in San Bernardino, California, or Redlands, one of the two, it's San Bernardino, Redlands, that area, lies the grave of Wyatt Earp's brother, not Virgil, it's not Wyatt, but Morgan Earp is buried in Southern California at the Hermosa Cemetery. So I went out there one time and I set down my digital recorder and I asked the question that would be on anybody's mind. And if you're a history buff on the Old West and do not want to hear this, or you think different, let me know what you think down in the comments. But if you don't want to hear it, make sure you mute your sound now so I don't spoil anything. And of course, this is what I got, and I cannot verify it because, like I said, I think I lost the file altogether, so I don't have it anymore. But I took my digital recorder there. I asked who fired the first shot at the OK Corral. Now, there's different stories who fired the first shot. Was it Wyatt? Was it the Clantons? Was it Virgil, Morgan, Doc? Who fired the first shot? Well, I happened to ask Morgan Earp at his gravesite who fired the first shot at the OK Corral, and this is what I got. And I'm not going to play any sound bite because, like I said, I don't have the file anymore. But the EVP said that Wyatt did. That's all it said. Wyatt did. So that was coming from Morgan Earp's grave. Now, had I done that same question at one of the graves of the Clantons that are buried in Tombstone, Arizona, I wonder if I would get a totally different answer. Well, I plan on doing that someday. If I ever get back to Tombstone, Arizona to visit, I'm going to visit the Clantons and ask that very same question. Now, Morgan is buried in Colorado. I think, no, Doc is buried in Colorado. I forget where Virgil's buried. I think up in Washington or Oregon, one of the two. And Wyatt is buried up in Northern California. So I'm not going to make all those trips to each of the graves and ask the same question over and over again. But I would love to get a different side. I got the Earp side, but let's see if I can capture the Clanton side of thing. Who fired the first shot at the OK Corral? Now, I'm living in an apartment and I got people in the apartment behind me talking loud, so hopefully that's not coming through on the thing, but that's one of my experiences. I got plenty others. I'm going to give it about another 5 minutes. If nobody calls in, I'm going to share a couple more stories, and if nobody calls in, I'm going to end it for the night in Spooktober and let you know what's coming up for November, which I haven't figured out all the shows for November, but I'll let you know what's coming up. Another story, experience that I've had. There was a house in Riverside, California that we were doing a case for. We did a walkthrough, did a kind of a mini investigation where the people were dabbling in the occult. And there was definitely some bad juju there. And everything like that. They had crosses with burlap wrapped around them with blood stains, whether it was human blood or animal blood, I don't know. Well, I did a cleansing and everything seemed fine for a while. And I will mention this, if I ever do a cleansing for a home, or if anybody does a cleansing, it's up to the homeowner to make sure that that darker entity stays away. We can't make sure that it goes away permanently, in a sense, because we cannot, like for me, I cannot say be gone and you're gone forever. Because if you're going to mess with the occult and you're going to open up doorways, regardless, even after I left and cleaned it out and you felt good, that's on you if you got another problem. And if I do a cleansing, I charge money for it, and I'm not cheap. So do not mess with the occult. Don't open the doorways. But leaving that said, this person can't prove it, but they dabbled in the occult. And so we left for a while. Then we got contacted by the client once again. The sister of the person that lived in the house. She was living with her sister, but was moving out because her sister got all angry with her. I don't know over what. So we went back to the house to meet the client there. And we stayed out in the street because we didn't want to go up to the house just yet until the client showed up. And the sister that was living in the house was out front with the boxes and sweeping and everything. She seemed nice, but we did not walk even up onto the sidewalk, which is public property. We stayed out in the street, which is public. We stayed by the curb. We weren't standing in the middle of the street. I mean, it was a side street and everything, but we didn't stand in the middle of the street, just so you know. And we were talking to the homeowner and everything like that. She knew that her sister was coming back to get stuff and that we could talk to her there and figure out what was going on. Well, nobody else in the group noticed this. I was the only one that noticed it. And we called this case, I didn't call it this, but the investigators that I was working with called it this, the demon behind the garage case. And you'll understand why in a moment. And because that's where we found the burlap sack, the upside down crosses with the burlap wrapped around them and the blood on them. That's where we found those crosses. So that's why we called it the demon behind the garage. Well, this gets even creepier. And this house, we were there, like I said, out in the middle of the street on public property. The sister was nice. She's like, you can wait there until she shows up and then we'll go from there because she's moving out. And I, for some reason, happened to look over at the garage. And I noticed these red eyes glowing from behind the garage. Almost like that video from Saudi Arabia on Nuke's Top 5 videos. Like those type of eyes, but red color and that black shadow. That's what I saw. And as soon as it spotted me, nobody else saw this, even our own psychic that was there. I mean, I'm stronger than the psychic that we had with us. And me and this psychic lady are friends to this day. But she did not notice this. That this dark entity came running from behind the garage right into that sister that was on the front porch sweeping. Her demeanor changed just like that. She's like, you cannot be here. You need to leave. And we're like, we're on public property. We're just waiting. Of course, I didn't say that. The other people that didn't see that thing, and I didn't want to mention it until we had actually left or did something to get rid of it. But her demeanor changed and said, you need to leave, even though we're on public property. And we're like, we're on public property. We'll just wait here. And she's like, no, you must leave now. And like I said, that angry demeanor, it did not want me there because it knew it was afraid I would get rid of it again. But like I said, they were dabbling in the cult. So we decided to honor the wishes of the lady that lived there, the sister of the client. And we went to a coffee shop in downtown Riverside and waited for the client there. We called the client and told her where to meet us. Well, we're sitting there talking, and then she shows up, tells us what's going on. And I did a remote cleansing from just that shorter distance. I can do longer distance. I can do a cleansing from here all the way over to Europe if I wanted to. But that's beside the point. We were that close to the house. We were, I want to say, about 5 blocks away, if that. And I started doing the cleansing, but this thing actually, now I don't get sick from doing these cleansing, these darker entities. A lot of these darker entities run away from me. But this one made me a little sick. It just made me feel nauseous. It wasn't too bad, but it made me feel nauseous and everything like that. So, that's what happened. Now, that's one story. I'm going to share one more story. If you want to call in, the line is there to where you can... All right. Hey, Nicole, welcome back. They're done with their live, so I'm going to give it a little more time. Normally I end at 10 o'clock, but I'm going to share some more stories with you. Yes, I'm watching the chat, but sometimes I get off on my thing and I don't watch the chat too often. So, you already heard about the story of the air conditioning and air conditioning house. There was another house in Montclair that I'm trying to think of the name of the show. We handed over the case to the show. I think it was the Holzer Files back then. Still, I can't remember. I know it was, or we handed the case over to Frank Zappa, and they took over the case after we had investigated the house because they had a haunted item in the house. Well, I was doing a little cleansing of the home, and we were chasing this thing out, me and another person that was supposed psychic. I don't remember this person's name. I don't have any contact with this person's name anymore. But something just... Okay, thanks, Nicole. Something just ran right through me. I mean, you could feel it running right through me. It was trying to avoid us, but I was blocking its path, and it decided, well, if it's in my way, I'm going to run right through it. Now, it just did not like... Welcome back, Bill. Did not like me there. There was another room in a separate house on that property, like a little guest house. And there was one room... I tried to step 1 foot in it, and it's like, no, I don't want to go in there. It don't want me in there. I cannot physically make myself to walk in there. Like that Mount Vernon ghost story. Like I said, the link is in the description if you want to check that out. And it was like, did not want to allow me to step in that room. So that's another weird story that experience that I've had. Now, let's see. In the chat, we got Nicole and Bill. Like I said, I am still live. Normally I end at 10. But Nicole says, like, one time I've seen a white mist in our live stream. Well, I've been thrown out of a cemetery once. Long story. And like I said, I got the phone lines open if anybody wants to call. The number is down below, as you can see. Brand new number for the show. And I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's only for open lines only. So if you call, you must call while I'm live and doing open lines. No other time works for that. If I'm doing live stream for something else and I don't have that number scrolling across the bottom, don't call in. And don't call after the live stream. After I finish this, don't call that number. That's business number only, and I'm not going to answer it. Nicole says, spirits keep throwing things at us, and we're like, okay, we're leaving. Alright, so, you want to hear some more experiences? Like I said, I could go on all night with experiences, and we're almost finished, or at least here in Texas, we're almost finished with Halloween Samhain. But we're not finished with the veil between our world and the spirit world thinning. And of course, it's a once-in-a-lifetime blue moon on Halloween night. Well, not once in a lifetime, but is a full blue moon on Halloween night. What better fitting way to do a show on Halloween than have the spirit activity? Now, if I was open to the spirit world right now, they would be driving me nuts. They would be talking in this ear, like, driving me crazy. Yeah, that's why I'm not doing a seance or readings on Halloween, because they would bum rush me, and no. Got the purge still. I saw something about that, but I didn't know what. I thought it was like somebody dressing up as for Halloween, but I don't know. I have to check that out. But anyways, I'm going to share one more experience with you. And if I get any calls before I end the stream, then I'll stay a little more longer. But let's see, which one can I share? Okay, I got the perfect one. And I'm bringing up the Omen House once again, because like I said, I could go on 5 hours on a live stream just mentioning the Omen House and the experiences that I've had there, and still not get through all of them. But the house next door to David Omen's, the Omen House had a 2-house investigation tour thing going on. And that second house was open. Well, of course, nobody the first night paid to stay on that house. I think the second night somebody did, but I'm not too sure. But the first night, nobody spent the night in that house. Now that house next door to David Omen, not the new house, but the other one, if you're looking at David Omen's house like this, it's on the right hand side, not the one on the left. If you're coming out of David Omen's house, it's the one on the left. But let me get into the story. So that house was there on the night of the Manson murders. And David Omen's house has a light feeling to it, more of a playful spirit to it, energy to it. And why Zach ran out of there when he was there? Well, Zach brings his own demons with him. But that house next door has a darker energy. Now, I did not witness this for myself because I was watching the camera that night. Yeah, Zach is a chicken. But that second house has a darker energy to it. Now, I did not see this happen, and I don't think we had a camera where this happened. But apparently, in one of the lower levels in that second house, there was people in that room laying on a bed doing their EVP session, and this one lady was laying there, and she tried to get up. She could not move. She was like she was paralyzed, being held to the ground. So she's like, I can't move. So being natural with three big guys like myself that were down there, not me, but three other guys, big guys down there, tried to lift her up off of the ground. And I mean, she was laying flat on the ground. Tried to lift her up. Could not do it for a certain amount of time. I forget how long. But they could not lift her up. Three big guys. And they could not lift her up. And then this thing just let her go. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning stuff about that house that I didn't see personally, and some things that I saw on camera, which I'm going to mention a couple other things, I'm going to get to it, the reason why I'm bringing up these stories. Like I said, I mentioned that nobody stayed there that first night. Well, nobody of the guests, paying guests, anyways. But that'll give you a little idea of what I'm talking about. So that front door, we caught it on camera. That front door actually opened on its own. While people were in the living room doing a seance, that front door opened on its own. And I saw it move on camera, so somebody was walking up behind me, one of the guests coming from that house, and I thought, okay, maybe she didn't close the door all the way. Well, I asked her, and she was well closer to me than to that front door. She had closed that door completely to where it latched. And I think in the video, if I remember correctly, you can hear the click of the handle turning as that door opens slowly. She was nowhere near that door. So that house definitely had a lot of dark energy. Now, like I said, I brought up this because there's the interesting part. And most people would not want to do this. I jumped at the chance. Because David's like, nobody paid for to stay in the other house. So, y'all are welcome to stay in the house. Since we're renting it anyways, might as well get some use out of it. So I jumped at the chance, and I stayed there overnight in that second house with the dark energy. Now, I wasn't the only one that stayed in that house, but I'm going to get to the interesting part. Our psychic, Lilia, her and her daughter stayed in the bedroom on the lower level. I was on the second level of that home. And this is going to get interesting. But that next morning, they had got up early because it was the last night of the thing. Actually, I don't think anybody paid for that. To stay overnight in that house, but I did. I think I stayed there 2 nights in that house. That dark energy house, not the Omen house, but I mean, I've been long time in the Omen house before, from like 7 at night till 3, 4, 5 in the morning. But to actually sleep in a house that has dark energy? Of course, that house was on Airbnb, so we rented it, and he thought it would be a good idea to rent it to let people that paid extra for that to stay in that house. It didn't happen, like I said, but since he had already paid for it to rent the house, so we could investigate it, he said, why don't you, and he asked Steve, but Steve had to go, so he didn't stay. But Lilia and her daughter stayed on the lower level, but they had to get up early and leave back home. So they got up about 5 in the morning. And they heard noises on the top level. Mind you, they're on the bottom level. I was on the second level. They heard noises on the top level. And they thought it was me roaming around because they thought I had been staying awake all night long over at David Ullman's house and talking the night away with him before deciding to get a little sleep. Well, I think I went to bed before them. Or maybe a little after them. One of the two. Anyways. They heard noises on the upper level and they thought it was me moving around. It wasn't me. I was sound asleep. Now. Here's the interesting part. Now. Let me ask you, Nicole and Bill, what you would do if you had to stay in a room, in a bedroom that was surrounded by mirrors. And I'm going to ask this question to everybody that views this video later on. If you had to spend the night in a room that is full of mirrors, what would you do? And I'm going to leave that there for a second before I tell you why I brought up that question. Nicole said she would freak out. How about you, Bill? Would you stay in a room that was surrounded by mirrors? I mean, the only place that wasn't surrounded by mirrors was the ceiling, the closet, and the bathroom. And that was probably one of the best damn bathrooms ever. Because, I mean, I took a shower there. It had one of the waterfall showers. Oh, my God, that was awesome. I mean, I'm asking not to run video and do EVPs, but would you actually sleep in the room? Would you actually sleep in a room surrounded by mirrors? That's the question. I'm not saying would you actually stay in there and do an EVP session videos or anything like that, but would you sleep in there? In a house that has dark energy. Now, there was a camera in the room, but because of my sleeping habits, I had the camera, and I wish I would have stayed dressed for it and took the towel off the camera, but I figured nothing's going to happen. I'll be fine. So I left the towel over there. And that's the question. Would you do it by yourself? Not with somebody else, but would you do it by yourself? Okay, so here's the question. Would you stay in a room that is full of mirrors, in a house that has dark energy, and by yourself, and sleep there? all those questions, would you still do it? Well, guess what? Here's the interesting part. I did. I slept in that room. Nobody else wanted that room. They're like, no, I don't want to go in there. Even when people were investigating the house, they're like, no, I do not want to go in that room. It's creepy. I said, I told Lilia and her daughter, if you guys want the second floor, you're welcome to have it. I'll take the lower level. But they chose the lower level. And because nobody wanted to sleep in that room, or let alone step foot in that room because of all those mirrors. I jumped at the chance. I was like, this is my room. I'm staying in this room. I was like, see, nothing scares me. Not even the dark energies. They can't even get me at night. Like I said, her and her daughter mentioned footsteps above them, like the second or top floor. I didn't hear it. I don't sleepwalk, so that wasn't me. But, I mean, I was laying there, no covers over my head, nothing like that, sound asleep, didn't hear nothing. I didn't find out about it till the next day that there was footsteps on the upper level. I guess I was tired, but like I said, a room full of mirrors in a dark energy house, and I was the only one brave enough to actually sleep in there by himself. And I don't think I woke up until like 10 o'clock. So from 5 a.m. when they heard those noises to 10 a.m., I was in that house by myself. Not a problem. So that's another scary story. That's the way to finish out Spooktober. Now let's mention what we got coming up for November. Now, I don't have anything too much on the schedule. If you go to talkingthenight.com, like I said, I did not... I forgot to update the website today. I'll have to update it tomorrow or maybe later tonight. But November, just because Thanksgiving is in November, I'm not going to do a show Saturday night that weekend of Thanksgiving. I'm going to take a break that weekend. But what I do have scheduled on the schedule is November 3rd. I'm still most likely going to do this. I'm going to be live streaming the election results. If you've watched the debate video, you know how I feel about the politicians and political stuff. But we're going to cover the election. We're going to cover some other things that night. Like I said, that Saturday, I don't have nothing planned yet. I'll have something figured out this weekend or during the week, one of the two. I'll have something figured out before then. And I'll definitely have something figured out by the 3rd. November 11th, or not 11th, the 14th. I think it is. Let me check my calendar. November 14th. Yeah, November 14th. I am doing a Veterans Day special because I am a veteran. We're going to talk about veteran issues and stories and everything like that on the 14th. Now, the rest of the weeks, I think I did add the week after Thanksgiving, but I'm going to take that off of my schedule because, like I said, I don't want to stream that Saturday. I want to take a break from it. but we're gonna talk turkey talk. I might post a video that Saturday, but live stream, no. I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna be suffering from a turkey coma probably. But like I said, I'm gonna have some great shows in November. Hopefully by December, if not the first part of January, I'm gonna be welcoming guests back to Talking the Night. I'm gonna have it all figured out at least by January, where I can have guests on the show. How to figure out the whole video feed thing, where my video's here, their video's here, and a little bit of room in the middle where we can pull up stories and stuff like that to share on the show. So that's what we got coming up. Again, thank you for joining me for Spooktober. Now let's see, what can I call November? What can I call November? Because we call October Spooktober. Turkey-vember. I'll figure out something. But join me on the 3rd, right here on the Talk of the Night YouTube channel, as we live stream the election results of the presidential campaign and other campaigns. So hopefully I'll see you in the chat room then. Until next time, let me get rid of the chat here real quick. So until next time, I shall see you on the dark side. Good night from Talking the Night. Slid in darkness is falling. Turn on the radio, and you hear him talking. Listening to what he has to say, all about paranormal and all of the things. When he sounds off, you can hear him say,